There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The Outer Realm in the category of Best Female Hosted Podcast. The Outer Realm is a very popular show hosted by Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, which boasts millions of listeners each week who are well known for and have been complimented on their very laid-back, roundtable style of interviewing. Together, this dynamic duo brings you the best of the best with guests from around the world who are well-versed within their respective fields of ufology, paranormal, esoteric, and other areas of high strangeness, and more. So go to podcastawards.com to nominate The Outer Realm in the category Best Female Hosted Podcast. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and do it now.
It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast, in 3 categories: education, storyteller drama, and art. For 4 years, the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast has provided advice and tips from international best-selling authors, world-class artists, contest judges and winners, and industry professionals based on the world-famous Writers of the Future contest created in 1983 by L. Ron Hubbard to help the aspiring writer and artist no matter their age. It is dedicated to the future of storytelling and art by showing that it is never too late to start, and those who make it are those who never give up. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in any or all of the 3 categories: education, storyteller drama, and art. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and go out and vote now. All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcast. Yes, it is that time of year again. There's a show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards, UFO Undercover, in the category of entertainment. UFO Undercover brings you some of the most revealing and current research that is being done with respect to alien abductions and contacts. Host Joe Montaldo has been an abduction researcher for over 35 years and is uniquely qualified to bring you live interviews with some of the most well-known researchers in ufology. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate UFO Undercover in the category of entertainment.
Hey there. It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The News on the Flip Side, in the category of politics and news. News on the Flip Side is a much different news and political program which is not deemed as opinion news. Listen as Joe Montaldo brings to you just the facts from trusted sources which will allow you, the people, to make up your own minds on the various stories being reported on. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate News on the Flip Side in the category of politics and news. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and do it now.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Joe Montaldo Show. I hope everyone's having a good evening. Yes, we have 4 shows up for Podcast Awards this year. Thought we were going to end up with 6, but we ended up with 4. But hey, I'm still happy there's 4 of us up there. I won't be happy if I get another one of them freaking runner-ups. I know before anybody starts, I understand runner-up is cool. 4 years in a row is not, or 3 years in a row is not cool. No. Yes, I know I could not get runner-up and just be more pissed, but still, people, come on. 5 million people voted last year, and both of my shows made it to runner-up, which is a good thing. I am complaining, but still, come on. I need a trophy. I mean, there's some trophies hidden back there, but I need a trophy, man. Oh, I used to perform in a lot of things when I was young, and I had a lot of trophies. I want a trophy, people. They offered me to buy one for runners-up. I was like, no, that's not a real trophy. I want a real trophy. All right, I'm not hating on runner-ups because I've had other runner-ups, but still, this is different. This is podcasting. Do you know how many freaking podcasts are on this planet, people? Oh, my God, there's got to be 1 million or more. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got off on a rant there right off the bat. It's what happens when you live in the deep south and it's 100 degrees and 100% humidity. It like curls the inside of your brain or something. No, I'm serious. Yeah, I think I'm playing. I'm serious. I hope you did enjoy the awards. We got a lot of stuff coming up these days. A lot of new shows on the website. Also, UPR on Talk Radio is a completely new website now. Any moans, groans, or bitches, please write to Michelle DeRoche because you know what I'm going to tell y'all. So it's best just to write to the boss lady and let her deal with it. And before anybody starts, yes, I do own a network, but she's the boss. Just so. Yes, Michelle, the TV star. Yeah, that's fine. That works for me too. Just any really and truly. But if you do, you write to Michelle because she's the one that's going to deal with it. And she'll decide if it's something I need to deal with or somebody else needs to deal with. So she's a lifesaver, actually. With all the travel I've been doing, we're back on the lecture tours, and I was out in LA with this young lady right here. We're going to talk to her in just a second. And we all had a good time out there. LA is always fun with Writers of the Future people, I got to say. But on that note, we do have a lot of stuff going on. I plan on going to visit Tom Wood at the Float this year in Arkansas. That sounds like that's going to be a blast. I'm going to go meet with the Goodwins down in Tampa in a couple of weeks, and then I'll catch up with them in Dragon Con because my sister lives in Atlanta. I haven't seen my sister in like 2 years, so probably 3 years. So I want to go see her and my new god niece. I want to check her out, see what she little demon child, heathen child looks like. Look, if she's my sister's, no, we're not even going to go there. But anyway, so just a lot of general stuff to catch up. I've been on doing a lot of lectures. I got a couple people outside the country I got to go visit, so I'm waiting on. Man, my passport was all going good, and then it snaggled up. And then they said, well, you can travel. We'll send you the one traveling to Canada and Mexico. I said, wait, it's 2 different passports? She said, well, not really, but for some reason, they don't care if you go to those 2 countries. It's just Europe they're worried about. I was like, what the? So I'll find out what that's about sooner or later. I'm sure that's maybe, I don't know. They think I'm a communist spy or something. I'm not sure what to think about that. It's just, she told me it's just a thing that's going on right now. There's so many people wanting to go, so many people coming in the country from overseas that they're a little bit leery when people want to leave. I'm like, really? I'm an American. I want to go to Europe. And that's the thing. I don't even want to go to Europe. I'm actually wanting to go to Canada. That's where I want to go. It's just, it's nothing like being an American. We have this young lady with us who is a winner from Writers in the Future this year. Very nice. I got to hear her talk a few times. I got to talk with people. It's when you're at this thing, it's a very interesting place. So Elaine, which name are you going by? Because I don't want to spill the wrong beans here.
I'm going with my pen name, Elaine Midcoh.
Okay, Elaine Midcoh, because I didn't, well, because, I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I don't want to get myself in trouble either. So Elaine Midcoh is with us, and she was just a very interesting character in general. You can see her in the GALA event. She's up there when she's picking up her trophy. She's all like, yeah, I got the damn trophy.
That's right.
And,
not a runner-up either.
No runner-up. Damn it. You see, no runner-up. She got the damn trophy. And, oh, no, I mean, all I can tell you about the GALA is you have to attend. It's like any Hollywood. It's the Academy Awards for writers is what it is. The gentleman who there was a producer who was one of the keynote speakers this year, pretty famous producer. Don't ask me, I can't think of his name. He was talking about because he had just attended the 2 different awards, the Tonys and the I think it was the Tonys and the Oscars, and he was talking about how much it was similar inside. It's really pretty. They do a great job. Everybody is black tied up. Yes, I'm in a tux, people. I mean, this young lady's looking good. Everybody up there is looking good. Even the ugly people looked good. That's just good. And trust me, there's some ugly people there. I'm not,
not on that night. On that night,
that's right. Everybody was beautiful. Everybody, even the press was beautiful that night.
That's right.
Denise, actually, no, Denise. Only friendly press is allowed. It's true, but okay. I don't want to get into that too much, but yes, originally I was on their butts because I wanted to know what this award ceremony was about and who Writers of the Future was and who. Anyway, it was a big, long thing I did. And we did a big research project, and John invited me out to come hang out the year after COVID. Matter of fact, when there was 2 sets of winners, and I spent a week getting to know 48 people along with all the staff and crew from Author Services and Galaxy Press. And I hate to say, they turned out to be fabulous people, and they were exactly what they told me. Well, which is getting rare is what that is. Usually when I get a big sale point and I go to an event, there's always something. Like the New York event, we went up there. First off, we found that they had to pay a $500 entry fee. And then was a couple of, there's a couple of things they had to pay for. They had to pay for all their food. And if they lived within, I think it was like 500 miles, they had to pay for their own transportation. It's not like these people. These people flying your damn family, people. I mean, come on. I mean, really, when they told me this, like, you do what? Oh yeah, we fly I guess the mom and dad or whoever. I wish. I'm not a writer or illustrator now. I got lots of friends on both sides, but to these days, I know more authors and illustrators than most people will ever even get to even hear about. And they're all fabulous people. I mean, all of them are. And when you watch them, and, because I'm pressed and I don't look like pressed when I'm there. That's the scary part. So you never know what I'm up to. And because I tell everybody, I tell everybody from day one that I'm pressed. That's what I'm there for. And the first day they meet me, I'm usually in jeans, old raggedy shirt or something. But then the rest of the week, I'm in a suit. And everybody's like, "Who's this guy again? We got to keep an eye on this guy." I do have a camera dangling off my wrist because I take lots of pictures and I get lots of interviews. But and I like to talk. So Joni calls you. Tell me. I mean, everybody. Okay, Joni is like the coordinator. She's the anyway. She's the one who gives you the good news. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite people. Oh yeah, I did say that the very first year I was assigned to her so she could keep me in line. Yes, that's true. Still, that's kind of even true today. We're not going to go there though. So Joni calls you. What are you thinking? Oh, is it like a runner up? Is it shit, I didn't win? What's going through your mind? Or do you know when she called? Oh my God.
Well, it's funny because it's an unlisted number. So when it shows up, it says unknown caller. So anybody who enters Writers of the Future, when you know that the results are about to come out, when you see unknown callers, you don't ignore the phone. You run for the phone. You run and you grab it and you say, "Hello, hello, hello." And it is wonderful when she calls you. But of course, the first phone call is that you're a finalist. And there's 8 finalists. And of the 8 finalists, there's only 3 winners. And then you're told, well, it'll be about a week. The 8 finalists are going to go to the judges who will pick the 3 winners. So, of course, that week is just filled with anxiety and not eating and running for the phone and hoping. And I actually experienced it twice because in volume 37, I was also a finalist.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no, not oh, shit. It was great.
No, I know, but I mean, it's just.
But you experience, yeah. And, it's funny. I never thought that my volume 37 story was going to go anywhere. And then I find out I'm a finalist. And then that whole week I was convinced I'd be a winner. And I wasn't. I ended up being a published finalist, which was terrific.
Yeah, that's cool.
At the end of the year, they threw in, I think, 2 finalist stories. And I got to be in that volume. But it's funny that, and you're told it'll be about a week, but for the current volume 39, it was actually about 10 days. So of course, the last 3 days, days 8, 9, and 10, that's when, can I eat? What's going on? What's happening? But it's absolutely wonderful. And she's lovely when she calls.
Joni is fabulous. She's, how she does what she does. I said, well, how you going to kill yourself when she, no, I'm going, phew. Plus, y'all haven't seen her when she's decked out. I mean, I'm just saying she wears some pretty outfits, and how she moves around as fast as she does is beyond me.
Right.
The woman's part alien, I'm telling y'all. She is all over. So doing a gala event, she is everywhere. I mean, literally, she is like some kind of demon woman that can pop up here, pop. I don't know how the hell she does.
It's astonishing the amount of work that they do.
Oh, it is.
I watch them. It's amazing. It's amazing, and like as you pointed out, such a professional result with that gala. It's amazing.
They do a great job. What is that, Christopher? You're talking about Emily Goodwin. Yeah, Emily is well, it's weird how they divide stuff up over there. Technically, Emily's in charge of everything, and John Goodwin's in charge of Emily. Okay, that didn't come out right. But anyway, Emily, if you hear this, that did not come out the way it sounded. Sorry, but I didn't mean to say it like that. What I mean is John's the big boss, Emily's the next boss, and so on goes down. And I think Joni's right there under Emily, if I remember right. But anyway, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. This is a concerted effort for everybody. I never see anybody sit still. The first year I went, the only time I even seen Emily Goodwin was like 10 or 11, because I wasn't there the extra 3 days that I've been going. 10 o'clock, maybe 11 o'clock, she'd come in and say, you want to sit down and couldn't even get close to her because there was so many people wanted to talk to her. I just felt bad. I was like, I'll catch up with you. I'll have you on the show, whatever. We'll talk. And John and I had breakfast every morning. We'd catch up and have breakfast and run around and see who was into what kind of stuff. And then, everybody's doing something. I mean, Malieve is running around with the cameras nonstop, plus what she's doing off scene. Jason's the same way. He's running around doing stuff and what you see off scene. And then, of course, Sarah is just like the whirlwind.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere all the time. And they're there early in the morning. They're there late at night.
Late at night. I know, because I've worked the days with them. Oh, I'll tell you all this. If you're there and you're not a winner, do not stand around because they will put your ass to work. I'm just telling you ahead of time. No, I've had a great time every time I've gone. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. Even for me, it's a lot of work because you're there to interview everybody. This year was a lot harder because the schedules were way tighter. And I felt guilty about, hey, y'all want to get interviewed. It's 11 o'clock at night. And interviews will run till 2 in the morning for sure. And you got to be up and back in front of everybody. And you were with, Tim and Jody this year. So, there was other people there, but that was pretty much the main courses. It's Tim Powers and Jody Lanai, and they are both. I like all the judges. I met all the judges now, or all the ones that have attended, I should say, and I'm friends with all of them. And I do know the Illustrator judges a little better. Yes, Don't ask why. We can't get into that kind of stuff. This is a PG-13 rated show, so we can't go there. Yes, Tom Wood is the one putting on the thing up in Arkansas. Yes. And it is, you can go. You just got to look it up online and look up Tom Wood and the Float. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah. The fun thing with the judges when they talk to us during the workshop week is they don't agree with each other.
Oh, no, they don't either.
It's so much fun. It's like eavesdropping on discussions of brilliant people where they're simply absolutely in disagreement. Oh, it's good to go to conventions. No, it's not good to go to conventions.
Oh, yeah, they agree and disagree on a lot of things. My first year with him, it was Todd McCaffrey and I think Wesley Dean were doing the classes, and they argued the entire effing time. I was there as press, but I kept wanting to bust out laughing. I had to leave the room a couple of times. I really did. And then one time they were showing how Todd did artwork and Dean didn't. And I was like, I'm not getting in this. I'm leaving. I can already tell where this is going. But they wouldn't be mean to each other. I mean, they would have good discussions. I'll say that much, and leave it at that. And that's what you see from Tim and Jody. I mean, and they don't always agree.
No. But you get a really good insight into how different people succeed.
You do. And it helps for people who are planning on using this as a career, now or before or down the line. You need this. And people, y'all don't realize it's not just about techniques and all they talk about. They talk about how to finance things, how to work with money. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this unbelievable whirlwind of a course. And you got to really understand these guys are all, let's just say, well off. Some of them are stinking well off, and some are just well off. No, some of them are pretty well off. There's some pretty big names in there. There's some pretty big books that come from some of them big names. I have never seen Orson Scott Card there in the 4 years I've been there.
Yeah.
Well, he wrote. I was going to say,
Ender's Game.
Ender's Game.
Ender's Game. Yeah.
Yes, which was a freakily weird little strange movie. No, he did not write Apocalypse on. Apocalypse now. Get out of here, man. No more. Whatever y'all smoking in this chat room, y'all need to quit that. Just put that shit out right now. Oh my God. No, I'm not anti anything, no, y'all stop. So Elaine, I know you had got to experience the 24-hour story. So what did you do? I mean, so you were familiar with some of this already, but still, when they told you, okay, we want you to write a story in 24 hours, were you like, okay, I got this under control, or let me leave now, or what was going through your mind?
No. Even before I went there, I thought, if I have to, I'm going to get food poisoning or something. If I can't deal with the 24-hour story, I'll eat something bad, something rotten, and I'll get food poisoning. it's funny how they do it. They give you this little object, and from this object, you're supposed to do something. So the person to the left of me got like a little voodoo doll, which I thought was really, really cool. And then the person to the right of me got what looked like an ancient piece of pottery. And what did I get? I got some great piece of plastic that could have been like the battery cover of some remote, and I'm looking at this great piece of plastic and thinking, really, I'm supposed to come up with a story based on this little, really nothing, just a great piece of plastic. But it's funny, you look at it and you think about it and you try to come up with something. I am not one of those very, very fast writers. I've never produced a story in 24 hours, except maybe for some flash fiction. And boy, I tell you, at 9:00 at night, I was already saying, well, to hell with this. I don't have to produce a story. They can't force me to produce a story. I'm a grown woman. I'll do what I want to do. And I went to bed and I was like, "Arr." But then I woke up around 4 a.m. and I did another 6 hours and I finished the story. And it's a pretty impressive lesson, this idea that you can actually produce something and it's halfway decent.
I know some of those stories get sold. Yeah, believe it or not, people, some of these stories get sold. So
yeah,
it's amazing. It's a lot of stress. For 38, I was running cameras on the balcony of the Roosevelt. So I catch Tim in the thing, him and I are talking. And right after he gives everybody their pieces, sends them on their way, he goes, "Look, Joe, just get the camera and follow around." So there was like 6 or 7 of them down in the lobby down there, typing away. So I was up there with the camera zooming, and some of the expressions on somebody's face, I wouldn't even publish them. I couldn't. They were like, "Shoot me now, please." But then some of them seemed to be kind of intense and into it. So, and then I know they allow you to talk with your cohorts, which helps for some of them. Dave was telling me it didn't help him out too much. It kind of screwed him up. He made him start thinking about a different story. I think he said he started a story like 3 or 4 times. And by the way, he was the big winner, people. He won the Big Kahuna Trophy. And I was like, he's like, "Yeah, I was lost, man." He's like, "I don't know. Nothing sounded right. Then I didn't have an ending for nothing." He said, then I went back to the first story and figured out it. I was like, okay, man. But yeah. I guess, if you can do it, you can do it. Somebody asked me to write a story in 24 hours, I'd be like, really? Just shoot me now, man. Just be
exactly.
Don't ask me. But you get to spend 5 days basically in classes with these people. And of course, there's the big gala on, well, I guess Friday doesn't really count because everybody's kind of chilled out and relaxed. And
you're not chilled out because you have to make a speech. You're only chilled out afterwards. It's after the speech that you're chilled, not chilled. They give you a magnificent meal and you're not enjoying it at all.
Oh, I know.
You have to do the speech.
You're just waiting for it's your turn. It's I know the first year one of the ladies, she was from somewhere in I think overseas, and she said, "Do you think they'll mind if I have a drink?" I said, "I wouldn't drink right now." I said, "I'd wait till after." She's like, "Well," I said, "because you might feel relaxed, and then no, trust me on this. It's just not a good." I said, everything's zooming in your body, every hormone you got's flying all over. I said, no. You just might want to wait until after and have a cocktail. I said, because she was kind of young. I was thinking, oh no, you'd be zigging out of your brain. It's now there are good after parties after all 4 years I've been there. There's been a good after party. So. And there are what they call bar cons at night, where you can catch the different judges. And by the way, Bruce, no, not all the judges are drinking at night. They're just sitting around talking with people. This was the most laid back year of anyone I've attended. They seemed a little, especially the illustrators, they seemed a little more intimidated of the judges than usual. And there's something to be intimidated. These are any of the judges, whether illustrators or writer, have earned their code. They're there. They're successful business people. They've got success in their work in all areas. And that's what you want. Oh, you mean you're talking about Larry Elmore, Mr. Dungeons and Dragons? He was on a couple of weeks ago. He is something else, man.
Yeah, they were in awe of him.
Just because he is something else. Just the stories alone. I've got to sit down with this guy on 3 or 4 occasions, just listen to him story tell. Oh my God, I could probably write a book on his stories alone. They were great. So so you there? What day you got there? Mondays or what you got there? Saturday or Sunday?
I think it was Saturday.
Oh, so
I think
you
it
got
was Saturday that they flew us in, and
so you got the full
yeah,
experience.
it was very intense and long. Uh, but the judges were the people who talked to us. Obviously, we didn't
Yeah.
meet all the judges, but the ones who showed up and who came to speak with us, they were just wonderful, very accessible. We were invited to lunch a lot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I was having lunch with Rob Sawyer,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I'm having lunch with Rob Sawyer and Tim Powers. Well, this is interesting.
Well, and that's the thing. And it's funny, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're a winner, the judges are there for these people. You have to remember, again, they're successful judges. They're taking time out of their careers and their lives to come here and do this. They're paying for it as the people at Writers of the Future like to say all the time. No, really, they are. They don't get paid for this. I mean, they pay all their expenses and hotels just like they do for us, but they come there of their own and just teach. And they want you. They really. I've talked to them enough. It's not even talking to them. I've got to sit through these classes, which you cannot sit in unless you're a winner or you work for Author Services or Galaxy Press. You can't sit in there unless you're like me, and I'm special press. So it's a little different for me. And you don't. It's so I get to hear these guys. It's not like, oh, we're gonna rush you through. No, they'll take up more time. They'll run them. They're bad. You got to watch these people. But they want you to learn. I can't remember the ladies who was going around passing out the little thing with the numbers, the pieces of paper with the numbers.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember her name either, but
I know,
was for fantasy. She was excellent.
She was, and so they basically had these sheets of paper in a dice, and something else. I can't remember. It was a piece of cloth, but anyway, so they would roll a dice, and when you get a number, then you would go down the first sheet, and I think it was a character or something, and each one picked something different for you, and then you had to write a story about it. I was like, well, that could be interesting. I made her give me one because I wanted to try it myself. I actually came up with some stupid stories, but I'm telling y'all.
But again, it was a way to show you can always generate a story. The dice, I think, went up to 18 or to 20, something like that. And she would have 20 different types of characters. This is a dragon. This is a dinosaur. This is a werewolf or whatever. And then the next thing was maybe occupations. Okay, the werewolf is a zookeeper. And it's like, okay, now try to do something.
It was an interesting thing, especially for people who's maybe not have enough imagination or find yourselves just in a rut. It's a good way to generate something. And even though you may never use it for anything, it's still a good way to generate stuff. Guys, no, leave me alone about the AI. We've talked about it. There's nothing we can do about it right now. Right now, you can't copyright it, so you can't. It's not worth worrying about it. I'm not going to say it's not going to generate good artwork or good stories because I've read a couple of good ones, but no. I ain't going to buy anything that's AI generated. I can tell you that now. You can forget that. I'm supporting my local authors and my local illustrators. You damn right. Too many of them are friends of mine.
A lot of the magazines have now, and I think Writers of the Future as well, they've put it into the rules and the guidelines. Yes. Nothing AI generated.
AI generated. And there's lots of reasons for it. I mean, it's too easy to cheat because it would allow people like me to come in. And you were going to get busted anyway. So you get over there in a class with Echo or Tom or DeSantis, somebody like that, Larry, and they're going to, well, how did you do this? Can you show me how you made this? Well, no, you can't show them because you generated it. You're not going to be able to do squat. And then they're going to kick you out. But the worst part is you can't own copyright. So anything generated AI is not copyrightable, even by big companies. So if they generate this beautiful piece of artwork and they put it as one of their logos, you can use it. And there's nothing they can do about it. Yeah, it's because it's AI and no one technically owns AI. Even though companies are developing their own AI, right now the federal government says no one owns AI. Yeah, I don't know. I'm moving to some country where there's no AI. I'm just maybe New Zealand or something. New Zealand don't have AI, snakes, or spiders. I mean, come on. They got big great white sharks and huge squid, but that's out in the ocean, man. That's got nothing to do with us. What's that, Denise?
They have volcanoes, though. Yes, they have volcanoes.
But we live on the other side of the volcano island.
Right.
What's that, Denise? Denise is asking, what was your favorite part of all of this?
Of the workshop week?
Of just the whole entire thing, minus the gala. She actually did put minus the gala.
Oh, minus the gala. Well, certainly a favorite part was being able to connect with other writers. I belong to a local writers group through my library, and it's a lovely group, but there aren't a lot of science fiction or fantasy writers. And to be in a room with a bunch of very, very talented people, to be taught by the judges is fantastic, but also just being with your fellow winners, it was wonderful. It was wonderful meeting them, talking with them about stories, and other aspects that were really nice. The unexpected moments. One unexpected moment, this was funny. As I said, I was a published finalist also in volume 37. So yeah, beautiful book cover. The illustrations are lovely. I mean, that cover is gorgeous there, and the illustrations in the book are lovely.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up a couple in a second.
But
okay.
But one of the funniest moments for me is you get published and it's absolutely wonderful. And then a few days after I was published in volume 37, so I'm looking on Amazon. And I was looking at the reviews that people wrote, and somebody wrote about my story. And I got so excited. It was breakfast time, and I yelled, "Oh my God, oh my God." And I was at the computer, and my older brother was here, and he said, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" He thought that I'd read something that somebody had died or something. And I said, "No, somebody liked my story, and it wasn't a relative. This is great."
Well, that's one of the we were sitting there, I was talking with Tim Powers, and I can't remember who else it was. I think it was Dean, and there were a bunch of people sitting there, and we were talking. I said, "Well, I thought y'all told me not to show it to my parents or relatives," and both of them looked at me. No, he said, "Because they're going to lie to you. They're going to say, oh, it's really, really good when it might really, really suck."
They'll never say anything bad about it, so you have to have other folks look at it. Man. But I loved it. That was a great moment.
I mean, it is a shame. It is true. I mean, somebody asked me if that was really true. I said, yeah, it is, because your family don't want to hurt you. It's your family. They love you, and they want to be kind to you. I said, not my family. My family would go, "Oh my God, that sucks. What are you wrong with you? Throw that thing in a garbage, man." Oh man, they do not spare the feelings around this place. But we're a tough bunch. It's one of those things. What was that, Marcina? Oh, she looked great on this. So let me ask her, because she goes, "How did you like walking up on the big stage? How did you feel when you heard your name called and you had to walk up there and watch the gala?" Okay, good.
I had actually fractured my ankle about 6 weeks before that. So I was limping, and beneath the dress, I was wearing black sneakers. So I was actually just terrified that I was going to fall or slip. But it was wonderful. It was wonderful to be up there. It was wonderful to see the other guests as well, and to recognize some of them. I know it sounds funny, but I was at a table with some of the other winners, and the table behind us had Dean Wesley Smith, who's a very prolific author and is one of the judges, and he was also one of the editors for the volume. And just to be at the same event with folks who are top in their fields was absolutely marvelous, absolutely wonderful.
And that's what, if you can see it, that's what Elaine's autograph looks like. Look at that. So in the future, rich and famous people. There you go, right there. That is actually her story in the book. I don't know why it's so too much light on it for some reason, but
yeah, a trickle in history.
So there y'all go. She's in there. No, see, we're not faking y'all out or nothing. And I'm gonna find the artwork for her in just a minute.
Yeah, the artwork is beautiful. It's by Jose Sanchez, who's one of the 2 artist winners from Costa Rica. He actually goes by the name Pero Trope.
Yeah.
Pero Trope. Here, I've got it here if you want to see it.
No, you can pull it up. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
There it is.
And
I think you can see it.
Yeah.
So mine's my story was a trickle in time. So he made it. Yeah. He made like a little water trickle, and in the back, I think he has a little time machine there. He's such a talented fellow. Yeah. And I think you have to agree, Joe, the I don't know whether it was true every time you've gone, but my goodness, all the illustrations were just beautiful.
It amazed me first off how, and I've said this 100 times, but I've bought in books because of the cover. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of shameful thing to do, but I have actually bought a book, and sometimes it pays off and sometimes not so much. But to see the artwork that these people did for these, I think they get to read a story once, and they produced artwork. And when I see it, it's such an emotional thing too. By the way, ladies, to me, it's a very, I don't know how to explain it, because I feel privileged to be there to watch these, because when they do the reveals, this is the first time everybody's seeing everything together. It's very emotional, and it's so, they do such good artwork to go along with the stories. It's hard to believe that there's that many times. I got to be honest with you. I was expecting to see some new, not so good stuff, or some wannabe stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I've been around a lot of artists in my day, and sometimes they don't produce the most quality. Everything looked fabulous there. Plus, everybody was very emotional.
Joe, I have to tell you, I'd heard that it was emotional, and I thought, yeah, sure it is. Yeah, right.
That's how I felt at first. Yeah,
but when I saw the Jose's illustration for my story, and I recognized it, because that's what they do with the great reveal. They don't tell you. You walk around and you look, and then you find your own. And I looked at it, and it was so beautiful. My knees began to shake, and I was so surprised. I looked down, and I thought, "What's going on? Is this a California earthquake or something? What's happening?" But it is an emotional moment when you find it, that somebody read your story and came up with something that was just beautiful. I feel like his illustration added to my story, that it made
it. I think all of them do, to be honest with you, but it's just for me, so if y'all haven't seen this is a kind of a privileged thing if you're not inside the family group. So I had Emily Goodwin send me an abridged copy of this, meaning that it's not as long as it would normally be, of when everybody comes in. Well, because we made a reel out of it, and you can only make reels so long. But anyway, it's up there for you to go see. You see the initial, everybody kind of rushes into the room. It's weird how this happens. They open the double doors, and it's like, and then and everybody just kind of fans out around the table. Then all of a sudden you start seeing tears and hugs. And, oh my God, thank God COVID is over. It's insane, but it's a great thing to watch. The artwork is fabulous. The stories are great. What's really nice about this is they're really good stories. So I tell people all the time, there's not as much sci-fi as y'all think there's going to be. There's a lot of fantasy, and I'm a big flipping sci-fi nut, but I do like fantasy too. So the books are, the anthologies are cool because, especially the way they list the stories in there. It's when you're going through it, it's like you're moving from one story to the next, to the next, to the next, but it's not jumping you like crazy insane to the next one. I don't know how to explain. You'd have to read it to see what I was talking about. But it's a nice read. It's a lot of good stories in them. I've read the 4 winners for this year. Altogether, I've read 10 of these, 10 of the books from. Well, you can see these right here. This is 30 through 36, and then that's 39, 38. Somewhere in here is 37. And this, of course, we need to plug. This is a friend of ours from one of the winners. Who won? Okay, yeah. That's Steve Hergen. His name's up there, and he's the winner. And he's he's talked with us. And then down here, which is not a winner from there, but this is another friend of ours, a friend of the network, Gary Hassel. He wrote Non-Human. This is about Rendlesham Forest and the case in Rendlesham Forest. It's a very interesting book. But same thing for you. I'll tell you. I'll give you the same invitation I give everybody. I tell everybody the same thing. If you got a new book out, or if it's just something you want to advertise, send it to me. We leave them up here for months. They get rotated around, but because it's people, and we only do this for the Writers Future group, by the way, unless they're personal friends of the network. So they get rotated around. When people. Matter of fact, I'm getting right to Lazarus about his new one's coming out in I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks, so it'll be up there too. It's people, we want to see everybody do well. I want to say, hey, nice. Yeah, I know her. She wrote that movie we all watching, spending $1 million on, $1 billion on. I'm sure there's people out there for every major producer or writer out there today. Somebody knew him in the beginning. Nice people, probably.
Hope so.
What's that? What's that Archer? What Archer? Oh, you use. I know what you're doing. Never mind. No, Archer from Star Trek, right? Enterprise. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, sure, Captain Archer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was. Yeah. They. So. Most of the time, the messengers will come in separate, but then they do groups like this where they do a theme. I don't know how the hell they do it. But yeah, I know it's Star Trek because I've seen a horror go by a few minutes across my screen. Yes, yes. Well, see, there's a lot of people in here that want to write, and it's like I tell them, go over to writersofthefuture.com, take the course, cheat a little bit.
Definitely take the course. Definitely.
And man, there's some really good videos on there. Man, for people who actually understand what they're talking about, it's a great thing to have. It's a great tool.
And you know what I tell my friends who want to write, but even if they don't want to write science fiction or fantasy, I tell them to take the course because it's just a great writing course in and of itself. Talk about character, maintaining tension, doing the setting, all of that. It's just a terrific course in and of itself. And of course, if you want to write science fiction or fantasy, it's just fantastic.
It is. Allure, what's it? Oh, okay, I know which one that's off of. It took me a second. It's Pike's. Anyway, I can't remember now. I did take the course. I've actually taken the course twice, but at the end of the course, you have to write a story. I just refused to write the story. So Emily says she's going to hurt me one of these days. But what happened was because I've been hanging out with all these people. A year before last, I was down there, and one night I couldn't sleep. I'd been working all day. I must have done like eight, maybe 12 interviews that day. That's audio, video interviews, and then I did a couple on the side, just regular interviews. And I couldn't sleep, so I said, you know what? I grabbed my laptop, and before I knew it, I had pumped out almost 10,000 words. I was like, what the hell is this? Wow. And then the next night, for the next 3 nights, I wrote almost 14,000 words that trip. And then you know what? I didn't write again until the next trip.
Oh my gosh!
And then the next trip, I wrote about 6,000. On this one, I got about 6,000. So I got about 24. 25. It's too many to turn into the Writers of the Future. By the way, it's 17,000 words, people. But
is it one story? Is it one story?
I'm gonna break it up. So it is one. It is one. So it's something that we spent 11 days in Gulf Breeze, Florida, and we had this crazy 11 days down there. So, and we were down with a lot of different groups and stuff. So I decided, all right, I'll just break it down. And thanks to all of y'all, I actually learned like filler and walking through storyline and stuff. Well, that was always my problem. I could write facts all day long, but nobody wants to read facts. It's boring, it is, and
right.
And it's like reading a freaking schematic. So, but because of y'all, I've actually learned how to kind of enhance the story as I'm moving along without changing it. Which is, I'm telling you, people, if it can get me to write, anybody who's got any talent should be just pumping like it's nothing. I'm just being honest about this because everybody who knows me, y'all been trying to get me to write. I run 2 different research groups, and then I got the radio station all I run and some other stuff. So people have been trying to get me to do research papers even for 2.5 decades, almost 3. And I'm like, no, you want to hear it? I do podcasts. Go listen to freaking podcasts, or
Right.
take the podcast and convert it, turn it into something. Let's see.
Yeah.
What's this? Admiral who? I don't even know who that is. Anyway, she wants to know, what are you planning on coming up with next? What are you planning on writing? Short stories, novels?
Yeah, I like short stories, and I'm actually I wrote one short story that takes place at a resort on the moon, and that story involves the very first homicide, the first murder on the moon.
I like this already. It's kind of nice.
So that story was published, and it won an award. It's going to be reprinted this summer.
Oh, that's excellent. You should always talk about that. You should lead with them. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm going to lead with it. But I'm thinking that it might be the first story in a series of stories that take place up there.
That's excellent.
Just the difficulties of establishing, both running a resort on the moon, but also the people who live there, the people who've chosen to live there. So
Jesse, you're as bad as me. Jesse and I want you to put it into the Expanse world.
Oh,
We went season 7, man. We went season 7.
I don't know if I'll do that, but
They might not have to. They might just buy it and do it themselves. They are. I gotta say right now, some of the Netflix and Amazon and a few others, Hulu and all them, they're just so thirsty for anything that they can turn into a TV series or into a movie or, because I've had quite a few people ask me to do documentaries. I'm actually working with one with Netflix right now. We've done 3 episodes so far. All I am is the narrator. It's basically I'm sitting here like, hello, I'm Joe Montaldo. Let me smoke in my pipe while we're talking about this. But anyway, I'm just going through the reenactment that everybody just watched and doing an analysis on it, which is great for me. It's good money, and it's just sitting on my big ass. I mean, it's how hard can it be? I mean, I sit in front of a camera all the time and talk. But when I was talking with them, they were telling me how bad it is right now. They can't get anything. And I said, well, because of the writer's strike. He said, oh, no, this is long before the writer's strike. He said, we've lost our imagination as a group. He said, we just keep remaking this and remaking that or changing this or writing stories similar to other stories, but not really the same story. And I do agree with him. I mean, when I'm some days I'm desperate to find some really good sci-fi. It doesn't seem to be as bad with fantasy, but still even there, I seem to have a hard time finding. I mean, I think every dragon story that can be told has been told, which I'm sure is not true, but it feels like that.
Or that they keep redoing. They keep redoing the same stories instead of finding new
because
stories.
they think they're going to make money at it. I know what it's about, but it's just sad because, talking with people like you and the other winners, there's good material there.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen some of these writers get picked up by other places, and I've seen some of these writers get on with gaming companies, and I've seen illustrators get on with gaming companies. But, because there's just a need for real talent. Mm-hmm. But then I watch these big corporate companies say, yeah, you know what? Let's just make Avatar 50 times. Well, I will tell you how this, people. I did see Avatar Way of the Water, and the special effects were great as usual. The movie itself was, if I'm forced to rate it 1 to 10, I'll give it a 6. It felt too much like the first movie.
I haven't seen it, so.
Well, I ain't gonna say nothing because I don't want to ruin for anybody. But I just as a thing. Well, no, because there's actually some fun parts in the movie, so I don't want to ruin it. But no, when you watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Because I'm a big fan of Avatar. I was just, and I don't want to say I was disappointed. I just thought for 10 years, wait, there would have been more substance to the show. What's that, Kirby? No, that's how I feel about it. What are you asking me about? Oh. So I'll ask her, calm down. Damn, Michael. So he wants to know, are you a Star Trek fan? And if you are, what do you think about Strange New Worlds?
I am a huge Star Trek fan.
Oh,
I've been a Star Trek fan since since I was 7 years old. I was a Star Trek fan. I have something from, I think, my 2nd grade or 3rd grade, where we had to write stories in school, and then the teacher, stapled them all to get together. And one of them says, "Space, final frontier. I go into space." So I absolutely love Star Trek. I have not yet started the 2nd season of Strange Worlds, but I enjoyed the 1st season, and I especially loved the last episode of the 1st season, which was based on that the Balance of Terror episode from the original series, which was
also a good episode. Yeah, that was also a great episode.
Yeah,
if you haven't seen it, go look at it. Go watch it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Elaine. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I was just saying that was I thought a great episode, and it was
a good episode. And well, you have to go see. Well, I'll tell you what I did when I seen the episode. I just brought the old episode up and I put them side by side on the screen and watched them. Well, because they're not exactly the same by any means, but you get a better feel for it when you do it because both of them are good episodes. It doesn't matter which one you watch; it's a good episode.
Yeah,
it was one of Kirk's better episodes. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, I think it was a great episode. Yeah.
The only, what do you mean? What episode did I like better than that? Oh, you're going to embarrass me. I liked the Triple episode better. It was a stupid episode. I know it was, but I can't help myself. It was just a dumb one. every now and then I like some. It's one of my biggest bitches about when they redid Battlestar Galactica. Good horror sci-fi that's just the world's ending and everything's on. Always got good comedy in it because when you're about to die, sometimes you just crack a joke because you know you're about to die. But for some reason, Galactica forgot that and they left it out. I know they didn't want to be like the first Galactica because that was just all campy, but they should have remembered good sci-fi always has good comedy in it. It doesn't have to be the whole show by any means. But, there's going to be some jokes like when Kirk looks like Spock and then gives him a look like, really? It's just going to be stuff like that, that you're going to see.
Right.
Discovery. I ain't talking about Discovery. You don't have to get Elaine to talk about Discovery.
No, I didn't like it. Ooh.
Well, it's okay. All right, real fast and we're moving on. So for me, Discovery was not Star Trek. It was sci-fi, and I'm not even going to hate it. It could have been any kind of good sci-fi as long as you nominate it as sci-fi. Once you start talking about Star Trek, oh my God, no. They broke so many rules and okay, first off, we know it's in the 29th and 30th century. Yes, I know, guys. I'm sorry. We already know that. Thanks to 3 different Star Trek series, we know that, including Enterprise went there a couple of times. Or I should say Archer went there a couple of times. But it's just, they just took too many luxuries. I could give a care what sex somebody is. That's not Star Trek to me. That's just our politics of our country. No, if that's all a TV series is going to be, I'm not going to watch it. It needs substance, people. They got to be something that keeps me there, keeps me entertained. And I hate to say people's genitals don't. It just doesn't. It just doesn't do it for me. But I didn't find that was Discovery was about. I thought Discovery was very risque in a lot of things they did, but they just beat up Star Trek. They went a different way with it. We know how the Klingon War started, and that's not how it started. We know what the Klingons looked at, and that's not what they look like. There's a lot of things that went on there, including jumping. And don't even get me started on the sperm drive. We don't even want to go there. We're just going to leave that alone. Well, I'm just saying, I've never heard about no mushroom drive and all. How many Star Treks have been on TV? 14 movies, 7 series. Give me a freaking break. Just leave me alone about it. Y'all go ahead loving whoever you want. I don't have an all-time favorite Star Trek series, but I have favorite things in different series. I like when Picard got taken by the Borg. I said, yeah, get his ass, tear his ass up. It's things like that.
One of my favorite episodes in Next Generation is one that never makes the list. It's, I think it's called The Wounded, which is in Next Generation. It's when the Star Trek captain who used to, Chief O'Brien used to serve on that ship. And he goes after a Cardassian.
That was actually a good episode.
Ship.
I don't know why I don't make
that episode, but it never makes the best list. And I think that's one of the best ones.
It's a really good episode. I think because it had probably more to do with what season it was. And when you get in those middle seasons, it got a little squirrely on how people remembered episodes for some reason or another. Yeah. Oh, so your favorite episode was when Tasha Yar died? Well, that was not my favorite episode. It's not because she left the series or anything. I didn't have nothing personal against the woman. That wasn't, to me, it was not one of the better episodes. I thought it was a little campy, a little dumb. Too much of poor what's her name crying the whole entire time. She's not a real good crier, even though she's just like this big, Deanne, I'm sorry. She did a lot of crying in Generations, people. I'm just saying. Oh, I like Deanna. I actually like Deanna better now in Picard than I did in Star Trek. I ain't even gonna lie. I actually like 7 and 9 better in Picard. I didn't like Picard though. The series itself I thought was garbage, but I liked the last season, and that's just the old Star Trek brought back. There's some great ones in there. Yes, they are. And if y'all didn't know this, and Jonathan Frakes did the whole thing while going through chemo for cancer.
Oh. No, yes. I didn't know. Wow.
And I know. I thought he was looking a little kind of skinny because he's always kind of been a little huskier guy, except in the very beginning. No, I don't know. I found out by accident. I was at a convention speaking about something. At an online group speaking about something else, and it came up in passing. I know it's the weirdest things that come up. We got a couple more minutes because we started 10 after. What? Oh, okay. Well, no, that's okay. No, we asked it anyway, so that's cool. So Jimmy just wrote in. He wants to know. So Jimmy is from Superman, right? Yeah, the one from the newspaper. That's what you just wrote. That's not Star Trek. That's Superman, dude. Just Jimmy Olsen. I just thought I'd tell you so you don't look like a goofball. No. So he wanted to know basically what's your favorite genre to write in, and do you prefer to write on like a pad or a computer or?
I I write on a computer, on a laptop. Some people have tried to talk me into dictating, saying that you can write a lot faster if you dictate, but so far that doesn't work for me. And I tend to write sci-fi, but I've also written some historical fiction as well. Some of it has been World War II focused a little bit.
World War II is still a good seller. So, and
yeah,
what was that?
Yeah, but I love sci-fi. I don't write fantasy. At least I haven't yet. I don't know whether I ever will. But I tend to go for sci-fi, and I like the near future.
It's always fun.
Yeah.
And Kirk and Spock said they can't wait to see your series about the moon. You're nuts tonight. No, I agree. It sounded interesting to me. I can't wait. I like stuff like that. Adventures on the moon, adventures on Mars. Somebody should write Elon Musk adventure on Mars and with his 20 children.
Oh, there you go.
I can't believe he's going to have 10 more kids. He got 10 now. He's going to have 10 more. It was serious too. It was like, I said, well, I guess you don't need us to help you colonize Elon. You're going to do it all on your own. He's serious. He wants to go to Mars and build his own colony with its own rules. He says he knows a better way of saving our society than the one that's here.
Wow. Well, first
sounds a little bit egotistical, but Well, I think he can get us there. I don't think he's gonna have any problem doing that part. I don't. What it reminds me of is that movie Moonraker, where the guy decided he built this big thing in space and everybody was going to be, like Hitler, I guess. And it always worried me that Elon might go that direction once he gets his Martian colony. Might build some guns. Don't you come around my colony now, people. Oh, Lord.
Wow.
He's a bit strange. He's brilliant, but strange at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, most brilliant people are a little weird, guys. I hate to say it, but they are. If you ever read about Benjamin Franklin or any of the great inventors, you'll find that they were a little, how can I say this politely, off. Look at Tesla. People thought Tesla was crazy, but he was brilliant crazy.
Yeah.
But he died a pauper, all because he didn't want to play with the government. Mm. Yes, we should all have free electricity now, people, just in case. He actually invented a non-metered way to create electricity out of the air, which, by the way, they're working on right now. They were just talking about it today. But the problem is you can't meter it. There's no way to meter it. And the government wasn't giving you free electricity, people. They were like, oh, no, there's too much money making electricity. So we might get lucky with coal fusion.
They might do it as a property tax. You never know.
Yeah, well, they're talking about coal fusion, too. So coal fusion within 50 years, you'll have a little ball about this big that'll be in your house. That'll power everything in your house. And if you have some kind of electric car, it'll power that. But they'll just probably make one about this big for your car. And, guys, these things are good for 2, 3, 4, 500 years. You're going to get one. It'll outlive you 4 or 5. You'll be giving it. It'll be like in your will, giving it to your kid. You don't need to buy one here, son. I got one here, baby daughter. I got one of them. You don't need that. I think I'm playing. I'm serious. That would be good sci-fi too.
Sure.
Yes, Stephanie. We're talking about we want to see her Moon series. Yeah, we're talking about that just like 2 seconds ago. You just running late.
Wow. Well, see, now I have to do it. So.
Well, yeah, if you start working on it, let us know. I know at least 4 people are going to buy one. So, so get them out there. They're good. We buy a bunch of them. I don't. You mean? What do you mean? You can't. You can. Okay. You can write things for Star Trek. You can't use it. You can send it to them, and if they decide to use it, okay, that's all fine and dandy. But you can't write a story and then make your own private Star Trek unless it's what they call them, fandom shit. Well, believe it or not, Star Trek allows you to make little mini series for them, or not for them, but of them. But they're really funny about individual stuff. I don't know. It's weird how that works.
Yeah.
Because I met the new Captain Kirk.
They did have a fan writing contest some time back that Dean Wesley Smith edited, the Star Trek Strange New Worlds, not related to the TV series. And they had 10 volumes, and they actually modeled it after the Writers of the Future contest, where people would send in the stories, and then it was judged, and they were published. But I think they stopped doing that for, I don't know why.
Well, because Star Trek goes up and down. I think one of the problems with some sci-fi is it's like Expanse. Everybody really liked Expanse, but it only made 6 seasons. Well, because y'all get a little crazy with some of the stuff y'all write to people. I mean, you stay on track, do good. I liked Expanse more because of the technology so much and the way we acted, because that's how we're going to be in space. We're going to be jumping around. We're going to be arguing with each other just because how we are. We're humans. So that was a little bit more realistic because it's near what you were just talking about, near future time. So it's right. Better like that. It's one of the reasons I used to watch Babylon 5. It was the same way. It was closer in the future, and it was true politics. Because there's going to be politics, people, and if we meet aliens, there's going to be more politics. At least as long as they're halfway semi-friendly aliens. Right. Oh man, I don't know.
I loved Babylon 5 as well. That was one of my favorites.
They got I thought somebody had told me they had a new movie, so I went and looked it up. It's a cartoon. Anime. Sorry, I didn't mean to use the word cartoon. Don't nobody write to me. I apologize. Jesus. No, I'm serious. I apologize. I know it's anime. It's a cartoon, but anyway. But there is works. What's his name's trying to? They want to reboot the series, so they want to come back with all new actors for the series, just like they did for some of the stuff. It's going to be hard because people like Jakar and Londo are going to be hard to replace.
Would they do it as a sequel? Taking some years after or are they going
I thought that would what they do. They'd start with like Sheridan's son or something and move forward, or because Delenn's passed now, but in real life she's passed. But from what they were saying is they was just saying a complete reboot of the whole series.
Oh.
That's dangerous because that series had a lot of good stuff in there, and I'm sure they're going to use it all, but. Those lines have to be put across by somebody. Jakar was a believable character. I'm sorry, people. He was, at the beginning of the series, but Londo was the same way. You mean Sheridan and Sinclair? I don't know. Well, you had to have the captains because that's what it was about. But no, Sheridan wasn't my favorite character. I'm not going to lie. It would have probably either been, I don't know. Might have been Jakar, it might have been Londo, it might have been Delenn. I'm not sure who it was.
Or Delenn's assistant.
Oh, he was cool too.
Billy Mooney.
It could have been Lorianne too, because he came in later at the end of the series. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's a good series. If you get a chance to watch it, people. It still holds up pretty well even today. So you can sit down and watch it. And what are you talking about, Crystal? Forbidden Planet with Leslie Nielsen. Oh, wait, I've never heard of that shit. I'm giving away my age now. I seen that. I was a little kid when I seen that the first time. Just so y'all know, I was about this tall, okay? And I didn't know what to think the first time I seen it. It was the first color sci-fi TV movie ever made. The first color sci-fi movie ever made. Yeah, Leslie Nielsen is playing a leading man, not a comedian. He plays leading man pretty good, too, I got to say. They had the big goofy robot from Danger Will Robinson in it and shit like that. You're talking about the new one, the new Danger Will Robinson, the new Lost in Space. I don't know. It had its moments. I don't know what to think about that. It just had its moments. But we have Elaine here that's going to write some new sci-fi for us. Yes.
I will.
If we're going to get to see some new stuff.
Yes.
I don't know, Jerry. Not all authors put their stuff into audio. Can anybody do like could somebody buy like a book from you and then convert it into audio themselves, or not for sale, just for use?
I know there's some programs that will read it to you,
like Microsoft Sam, but I ain't gonna say
what. The Writers of the Future, Volume 39, they put it into audio, which is pretty cool.
They did put it in audio.
And there's some magazines that will do audio. I think Escape Pod is audio,
For me, it's easier because I'm on the road a lot, so I get a lot of free time on the road, so I can plug in something, throw it on my stereo and listen to it in stereo while I'm driving. And I actually absorb it better that way. If for me, trying to sit and read anything these days is just an impossibility because somebody's going to want something, or I'll be sitting all relaxed and reclining and and I'll see my computer or something flashing on my screen. I'll be like, shit. And I'll have to go over there and play with it. Next thing I know, I'm halfway. The other day I came in my room for 5 minutes to just turn something off. I seen my website on there that I'm in the middle of. We're building a new website. And I end up sitting down 2.5 hours later. I go back. Yeah, so, well, I know, but I know like when you're writing, it's easy to lose track of time. I got a lot of authors tell me they'll start writing, and the next thing they know, it's really. Now, let me ask you this: I got some friends who write professionally, but they write 9 to 5. Can you do that? I mean, some people can, some people can't. I don't know how some of these people just get up Monday morning, 9 o'clock after the weekend, and I'm going to write. I'd be like, what? No, I'm not going to write. What are you, crazy? I don't even want to think about anything 9 o'clock in the morning, especially write. I mean, is that something you do? Or I'm not condemning anybody. People, writing.
I actually started after I retired from a career working at a college. So it was really important for me that I didn't treat writing.
Bless you.
What's that?
I said thank you and bless you.
Oh, thanks. But for me, it's so important that I don't treat it as a job. If I treat it as a job, I'm going to be so upset with myself.
Yes, you will.
Because for me, this is my pleasure, even though, there's the pressure that I do want to write, I do want to succeed. But if I ever treat it as a job, I think I'll be very, very unhappy with myself.
You will.
But there are some people that it just makes sense for them. It's like, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm going to write from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. because that's the time of day that they're free. And they do it, and you do it regularly. I will say that one thing about writing is it's like exercise. The more you write, the easier it becomes.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. And once you stop, if you stop for an extended period of time, it's harder to start up again. And it really is. It's just like exercise.
Well, that makes total sense to me. What do we got? Well, Clifford, we give him 4 more minutes since we ran over where we're going to stop. What's that? You want to know who her favorite author? She can't say that. She might get in trouble or something.
Well, what if I name dead people? Then it'll be okay.
Yeah, there you go. See that right off the bat. That's what was laughing.
I would have to say I don't have favorite authors. I enjoy a wide assortment, and it varies tremendously. Sometimes I'm into history, sometimes I'm into biography, sometimes it is short stories. When I was younger, I definitely my beginning sci-fi authors were Heinlein and Asimov, and a lot of short story writers. I love the short stories.
Well, I can't even remember what it's called, but I remember my grandpa used to bring these magazines. They were just little thin, trashy magazines, and on the back of them, there'd always be a good sci-fi story. There were probably magazines for selling stuff or hunting stuff or something, but there was always a good sci-fi 2-story in there. And I realized right off the bat, I really like sci-fi. But part of it was I trained myself when I was young, in my 8 to 9 years old. I used to have these horrible nightmares, and I started playing episodes of Star Trek in my head, the complete episode. I got pretty good at it too. And then I got to where I could intervene or interfere in the dream itself. I was like, wow, I didn't know you could know. Everybody says you can't do that kind of stuff. Obviously you can. Now I dream about anything, but it was weird. It was just but it worked really for me. And of course I liked sci-fi. That was even better, but it got rid of the night terror. So that's what it was meant to do. And it did it quite well.
Yeah.
Who Gigglefoot? Who the hell's Gigglefoot? Oh, dumbass. I know who you're talking about. Now I can't remember his name now. No, now that you did that, I can't remember his name. Yeah, he's another famous writer. Jeffrey and him like him. A couple of our hosts on the network like him. Lovelace or Love Somebody or Another. What the hell's his name? Isn't it Lovelace? No, maybe that's something else. It's Love Somebody or Another. No, it's not Dr.
Lovecraft?
Lovecraft. I don't know, something like that.
Right.
Anyway, I'm sure y'all know who he is. I know.
Yeah.
Actually, I imagine Elaine gets a lot of reading, and for me, after my son was born, there was no more reading. Oh no.
It's hard to find time. I have to say, I've grown impatient. And I don't know whether it's lack of time or whatever it is, but I love short stories now.
Well, because it's better, because you're going to get some satisfaction out of it. Because if you get into a novel or something, you might finish it in a day, you might not. It might be a couple of days, or life might get in the thing. You might not pick it up for a week.
Right.
And it just kind of works out like that. Unless you're like somebody I know who can read anything in like 5 minutes. We're not going to mention no names, Linda. It's I'm not kidding you. I remember the first time I ever bought her a book. I think it was one of the Anne Rice stories, and I happened to catch a hardback copy. This thing's like 600 pages. So I give her the book. I said, "All right." It's a little tiny writing. I'm like, "Sure, it should be here." And damn, it looks big. I'm like, "Okay, well, it should be here for a while." So I don't know. I went to the store, went and done some stuff, came back, cooked dinner, was messing around. She said, "Okay, we got to go get the next one." I'm like, "The next one, what?" Next book. I'm like, "What do you mean next book?" I said, "Well, you're going to just stock up?" So she said, "No, I'm done." I'm like, "What do you mean you're done?" I was like, "What?" And that book was not a cheap book either. I got to say, back then, this was big back in the day. And I think it was like $65, $75. Yes, people, I know Anne Rice, was making some money. I do know that, Bruce. Anne Rice started out as how can I say this? A sultry, sexy story writer. There you go. How's that? Yes, that's what she used to write. Yeah. No, not like that, but she just, those stories, anyway, we're not going to get into all of that, but yes, look it up for yourself. Yeah, she did. And somebody told me her son writes, but I haven't seen anything, so I don't know. No, she's gone. Yes, no more vampire balls. I hope they keep doing them, but they did one this year, but the vampire ball's cool. And she does a great All Hallows Eve ball, just like the dungeon does. Yes, we'll have to invite Elaine down, let her hang out with the ghosties and demons. There'll be some fantasy writing in. Won't be no sci-fi, there'll be some fantasy though. Okay, Jeremy, one more question, then we're gonna go. Tell me quick. Come on, quick. You write like my damn Chihuahua does. Oh, okay, no, that's cool. So he really just wants to know. He says, since you won in the war and all, what advice would you give them first to really help them get a grasp on writing, and what advice would you give them to maybe point them in the right direction to winning writers of the future?
Wow,
that's what I said.
Yeah, well, we could do that in a minute. But certainly, I would try the Writers of the Future online class. It's free. You do it at your own pace. And it's a combination of, I like the videos the best, where I think it's Orson Scott Card, Tim Powers, and Dave Farland are the three who do a lot of videos. But if you don't like videos, there's essays, there's exercises. When I did the Writers of the Future course, I didn't finish it very quickly because I was doing it at my own pace. And every time they gave an exercise, it gave me an idea for a story. And I started going off and writing a story. So that didn't work. And in terms of winning, I'll tell you one thing that I think is so important, which some folks don't do. Some folks, they just try to analyze current trends or markets. And they say, oh, we're talking about Anne Rice. Oh, vampires are the big thing now. So I'm going to write a vampire story. I think what you really have to do is you have to write stories that you love, that you personally love, because so long as you love your story, that's when you're going to write a story that other people will like as well. So it's kind of weird advice, but I would say don't necessarily do an over analysis of what wins, what doesn't win. I mean, you might want to look at structure. What's the number of words that typically win? Do they normally take super long stories, super short stories? Is it mostly like 4,000 words, something like that? You might do that. But when it comes to topic and subject matter, pick something you love. I love Star Trek. And I have to say that my volume 37 published finalists, a lot of the folks who read it said, this is so much like Star Trek. And I was like, really? Oh boy. Because I love Star Trek. So I wrote something that was Star Trek-y-ish, I guess. Or at least a lot of people thought so. And that's great.
That means you're writing what you love. Johnny, you can't write. I've already seen your writing. We're not going to worry about you. Look, if you can't pass me, you don't even need to send it to Writers of the Future. Let's just be honest about it. Oh, no. Oh, well, no, there's 12. Okay, there's 12 and 12, actually. Daryl just wrote in just before he left, and he said, did you have any favorite winners?
You mean inside volume 39?
Yeah, they were all my favorite.
Yeah. Well, besides my own. No.
That's the way to
go. There were some that I certainly enjoyed. There's one that's rather humorous, Death and the Taxman, and I thought that one was
I know.
Fun.
I didn't think it was going to be the winner, though. And it did. It won, but we had the winner.
It was one of the winners, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought he was the big winner.
No, I don't think he was the big. Something called the White Elephant, I think, was the big winner.
Oh, maybe so.
The Grand Pen or something. I'm looking through it now.
So.
Yeah, there was a bunch of fun ones.
Yes. Well, y'all seen that artwork. We showed you that he was on with us. That's the one. The guy looks like a Jedi with a sickle.
Oh yeah. Yes, that's the one. That one. Yeah. I liked one called Moonlight and Funk, which.
Yes, I like that one myself.
I'm in Florida. It takes place in Key West, and of course, they're very, very different from each other. I'm looking.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, I'm looking through table of contents now. There's just so many different ones. There was a lot. The one by T.J. Knight, The Fall of Crodendra M. There were a lot of good ones in there.
He was just on. Was it last week, week before last? We're doing two authors a week on Writers of the Future, and John Goodwin's with me on Friday night because we're doing podcast awards, and so he comes and joins us for our one on Friday night, along with the guest for that week, whoever it may be. That's Carmen's job there. Uh-huh. And I tell people all the time, how do you get on your show? I said, you can write me. I said, but it's better to write Carmen. I said, if you don't have Carmen's address, I'll send it to you. And they're like, why? I said, he's the one doing it. I'm running off doing other crazy stuff. And all this stuff helps me out. Like when they're doing guest acquisition, Michelle takes gas station operations. It just gives me way more free time. Mm-hmm. And I need it too. Jimmy, we're getting ready to go. What? Oh no, yeah, Death and the Tax. So all it was a story about the guy fooling death. He tricked death.
He was an IRS guy.
Yes, he was. That's right. He was an IRS guy who tricked death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. But
it is. It's a fun story.
Spoilers. I don't want to give spoilers.
Yeah. Go read it, and you'll see it. It's in there. Y'all have seen us talk about it before. It's been on the show. The writer has been on the show, so y'all can go back. You can go back and look at the one of the episodes. It's a 2 or 3 back, but you can catch it there. And actually, in that particular case, we had the illustrator on one night and then the author on another night, so you can go back and catch both of them. When I seen it, because this year, usually I get to read the stories ahead of time. And this year I didn't catch them, so I didn't get in until I got into the place, which was on Saturday. So I sat down and read the book on Saturday. But I like to have a couple of, like a weekend or two in advance and be able to absorb it. I'll read it at home while I'm working on a computer. And then I'll usually read it again on an airplane flying into L.A. Well, it's a thick book, but you can read it in 3 or 4 hours because it's mostly story. And even if you can't, you can cut off on a story and just pick up later on the story. Mm-hmm. But y'all gonna enjoy it. There's a lot of fun stories. In all 4 years that I've been there, there's a lot of fun stories. I would suggest you to go in and take a look around. Yeah. And like I said, I've read back up to 26. This is far back as I am right now. I can't find the other collection, but it's in here somewhere. I enjoyed them so far. I like the mixture. I don't get as bored. It's just a nice mix of stories. And if there's something you just can't take, to the next one.
Right.
You can get it online. Mm-hmm. You can get it on ebook. Yeah.
You can get it online or audiobook or in print.
Yes, and all the rest of their books over at galaxypress.com you can get on. Most of them you can get in. I've got the whole collection on a pad somewhere, and there's a bunch of audio. There's just a bunch to read, but there's a bunch. It's all of L. Ron Hubbard's collected sci-fi works, or I should say his non-fiction works. That's that.
He wrote more than just sci-fi.
Yeah, he wrote nonfiction. He wrote fiction and nonfiction. I got a couple of his nonfiction books there somewhere in the office. Wait, I think here's one right here. They're usually up front somewhere, not back here. But this is one. Whoops! Let's just turn his lovely face around there. This is one of his nonfiction books. This is one on. This is articles and essays. There's a lot of good stuff like this you can get, and there's a lot of stuff where he's writing serious. I don't know about any of that. You're wasting your time. If you're asking me about the ST word, you're wasting your time. I don't know anything about it. Mm-mm. I'll tell you this much, and we're going to get out of here because we're going to close. As far as Scientology goes, if I had to judge it just by the people I work with, I'd say it was fantastic. But it never comes into play, so it doesn't matter. The winners don't have nothing to deal with it. The judges don't have anything to deal with. The press don't have anything to deal with it. There are members of Scientology that work there, but none of them are pushing anything anywhere. Unless, Elaine, did you get anybody harass you or anything?
The whole week I was there. There's no mention of it, and
it's just not.
Well, they talk about L. Ron Hubbard, so I guess in a sense there might be a slight mention, because he was the founder. But you have to recognize the judges of the contest are the top people in science fiction and fantasy, so they come from all backgrounds, all religions.
And I'll be honest with you, I interviewed all the judges, both there and online, and the thing, if they all told me the same thing, if this was about that, they wouldn't be a part of it. So
yeah, exactly.
Neither would I, neither would most of the winners. No. So this I like, I know I get the question almost every time I do a lecture now. Somehow I went from being a guy who lectures on political stuff and UFO stuff to Writers of the Future. Now I'm not sure how that went on, but I'm not kidding. Anytime I'm doing a lecture anywhere, someone has to ask me. And no, I got to be honest with you. One of the reasons I went out there was because of this. And there's nothing. There's no sign of it. It's not mentioned. It's not talked about. If you didn't know who L. Ron Hubbard was, you wouldn't even know anybody there was one. The people are just beyond nice. I always tell John and Emily and them, I'm always scared. I'm waiting for somebody to jump out of a closet with an axe or something. No, I'm serious. They're way nice people. They go out of their way to be nice, and they don't have to be nice to me. I'm just press. But they're nice to me. They're nice to everybody. They work hard. And when I say they work hard, I mean most of y'all would not work this hard. I'm just being honest with y'all. I know a lot of people, and most of the people I know would not work this hard. They'll get up. They'll be up at 6, bed, midnight, 1, 2 o'clock. Well, we'll say 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, because I've had wine with them after they've been working all day at 2 a.m., sitting in a bar while we were talking about the day. So that tells you right there. So they're getting 4 or 5 hours sleep, and they're right back at it. Yes.
Yeah. And there's no pressure on winners. I mean, there's nothing. There's no mention, period.
No, they don't. Whoops. Sorry, I knocked something over. I was talking to you there. They don't, it's not a thing to them. For them, this is more about paying forward by L. Ron and the judges than it is anything else. And when they first started telling me this a couple of years back, I was like, what do you mean paying forward? Paying forward what? So you know how I am. I had to keep harassing them until I got one of them on the record. And but it is true. It is true. These judges are in a way paying forward. So, and these guys, when they become rich and famous, they'll be doing the same thing.
Oh, I promise.
I can't wait to see him be rich and famous. She'd be like, Now, if y'all just remember, I was here a few years ago before I wrote this big fancy movie here I got going on. Look, people, I'm going to be honest. You never know who's going to be the next famous writer or illustrator out of this group. And even if they don't make it to where they're name recognition, they still may make it to you're reading a lot of their material or viewing a lot of their material.
Yeah.
So support your local author, support your local illustrator. When you see the kid over there drawing on something, don't go harass him. Now, if he's drawing on your wall, it's different. But other than that, I know a little illustrator. He's damn good too now. I remember when he was 3, he drew the entire from just down the entire. Took a 144 crayon box and drew the whole wall all the way around. Thank God he wasn't my kid, because I'd had to kill him. No, I'm serious. I'm like, and let me tell y'all what, crayon does not come off a wall easy. Yeah, I know it does not. It doesn't just cover it with paint either because it's got a waxy thing to it. So you got to. Anyway, we're not going to go there. But he was an aspiring little artist. Now he's. Last time I talked to him, he's 36, and has his own company that does illustration work for local companies.
Wow.
Yes. I told him one day, I said, "You've been drawing and everything again." He said, "Yeah." He used to work for me when he was a kid, and I caught him one day. We just knocked off work, and I had a big. Just a big hunk of cardboard laying in the back of my truck. He's out there, just going to town.
Mm-hmm.
He's I'm gonna be famous one day. I said, I hope so. I said, just remember me, because we're family, so just remember who I am. He's like, we're not family. I said, we're close enough, man. But we got to go. So anything you want to tell these guys? Any place they can find you? Any emails, websites, or?
I'm on Facebook, so you can always connect with me there under just Elaine Midcoh. I have a very simple website, just lists the publications. It's at www.elaine.midcoh.wordpress.com. So real simple, but you can see the publications there. And sometime this summer, that first story about the first murder on the moon is going, or I expect that it should be out on the Escape Pod magazine, both as audio and print.
Well, hit me up with a text or drop an email or something. Let me know, and either we'll get you on or we'll get it on there so people can see it. I'm going to read it. What do you mean? I love stories like what we're talking about here. These are right up my alley.
Oh, terrific!
What are you talking about, Jeffrey? Oh, you're talking about Pluto, Mars. I know what you're talking about. Okay. It was a story about casinos on the moon, I guess. It was just a story about the moon. The moon had grown into a big town and stuff, and that's all it was. And he was in trouble for, I don't know, casinoing or money or some shit. No, I don't think that's what she has in mind. I don't know until we read it, so we're just gonna wait till we can read it. Calm down. I do remember Pluto Mars. I remember Pluto Mars because they shot the Chihuahua out of the thing. Yes.
Oh,
hey, look. It was a weird movie, is all I can tell you. It was a goofy ass movie. It was with I can't remember his name. He was a guy from 48 Hours or
Eddie Murphy?
Yep, Eddie Murphy. Thank you very much.
Eddie Murphy.
It was Eddie Murphy, yeah. I don't know why I couldn't get his name out of my mouth for nothing. I could see his face like he was but yeah, it sure was. No, it's a funny movie. It's got it's okay. It's kind of campy. Just keep that in the back of your mind. I don't know, people. I got this weird thing from when I was a kid. These little campy movies get stuck in my head. Like that Valera movie. I never would have thought I would have liked that, but I like Bubbles. Yes, you'll have to watch it to know who Bubbles is. She's a very famous singer. I will tell you that, but you'll have to watch it to know who it is. Yes, I just like anything sci-fi. I can't help myself. It's a weirdness. Just deal with it. Truly, I'm a geek and a nerd. I was just really lucky when I was young. I was a big nerd and a big geek, but I was really good looking. So I got away with it a lot easier. Now geeks and nerds run the world, buddy. So more power to y'all. Oh, hell yeah, they run the world. Mm-hmm. What do you think Bill Gates is? What do you think Steve Jobs was? What do you think Elon Musk is? Mister, I would know if there was aliens because I'm, in that space stuff. It's just how he did it, too. I was like, come on, Elon. What are you smoking tonight, buddy? Oh, man. Well, no, I mean, okay, technically the geeks don't rule the world because the idiots rule it, but for the most part, the geeks do rule the world. They control the real technologies of our planet. Who the hell do you think's making AI? Yes. Anyway, on that note, we got to go. Elaine, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Anytime you want to stop by, you feel free. Just drop me a letter and we'll get you on. We also on Fridays, too. Friday's late, though. It starts at 9 p.m. Central Time.
Okay. Well, thank you. It's fun.
Yeah, it's always fun to hang out. We always have a good time. What are you talking about, Christopher? Pembroke Pines, Florida. You know what? I think you're right. I'll have to look and see. We were, it might be, was it Pembroke? I don't know. Anyway, we were in a place in Florida. It sounds just like that. I'll have to go look at my journal.
It's near Fort Lauderdale. It's near Fort Lauderdale.
See, it might have been it then. Well, we go all over Florida. Florida is like a second home to us, man. We've been good. The Panhandle is nowhere in the Panhandle I haven't been. The only thing is I haven't been in the Keys in a while. I missed the Keys. I haven't been down there in a while. Yeah. And I like to just go spend a couple of days down there with the sharks and stuff,
Yeah,
hanging
it's
out.
beautiful.
It's beautiful down there. It is. Yes, Christopher, that's where Hemingway's house is at. I don't know if they still do it. They used to keep a glass of whiskey and a cigar on the table where he used to write. Don't ask me. I didn't even know man drank and smoked a cigar. How the hell did I know? That's heavy reading. There's light reading and there's heavy reading. See back here? Oh, you can't see them right now, but all the Greek and Roman philosophers are back there, and all those great stories are back there. That's heavy reading. That's reading that will make your brain fall out your head. And then there's light reading. Yeah. I've read everything back. I've actually read all of them. Mm-hmm. Because I'm into that kind of stuff. My brain is weird. The weirder it is, the more I like it. Yeah, it's just one of those things. No, Jesse, stop that with the rumors. I'm not a general for the Millad people. Stop it. I had to deal with. I was on Coast to Coast AM or Coast to Coast FM, and somebody calls in the show and goes, "I hear you're the guy in charge of military abductions on human people." I'm like, really? I said, okay. If that was true, I would be like a multi-millionaire, or I'd be a general with bars all over the place. I said, do I have either? No. But I heard it from a good source. I'm like, I want to meet your source, is what I said. Because, it's FM radio, I couldn't curse. But it's stuff like that gets started, and it's insane. Yes, like Bob the alien lives in my house. Well, this is Bob's skull, so I guess he don't live here anymore. So I guess we got issues, my friend. Yeah, so then we got to go, people. No, we're running into Michelle's time. Michelle's going to be kicking my butt. And she don't like when I run over her time. She's mean, man. For a Canadian girl, she is mean. Oh, there is one way to get into Writers of the Future. There's a way to bribe one of the people. Send Canadian chocolate to Emily Goodwin. And she was like, yeah, send lots of Canadian chocolate. I mean, like cases of it. You're still not going to get in. She'll be your friend now. I'll just say she'll be friends. Before we go, we have a friend. Both of us have a mutual friend that lives in Canada, in Toronto, or is in Ontario. I don't know, one of them. And no, she's either in Ontario. Where's Niagara Falls at? It's in
Toronto.
whatever big.
Toronto.
Okay, so whatever big cities by Niagara, that's where she lives. Anyway, so when it's cold, she sends me like 10 pounds of chocolate. Because Canadian chocolate, I hate to agree with, it does taste different than American chocolate. So she sends some to Emily too when the weather's good. It is, people. It does taste. I didn't believe her. She drove me crazy. I'm sending you some chocolate. So I thought it was gonna be like a bar or something. A box shows up at my house. I could barely carry up my stairs. I was like, Jesus, what the hell did you send me? I get in there, there's all kind of chocolates. And it amazes me how many bars are similar to like Snickers or Twix, but they don't have the same name. But they're the same candy bar, but they do taste different. I don't know how to explain it. The chocolate is, maybe it's a little smoother, a little softer. They say it's better than Swiss chocolate. I'm not hating on you, Swiss. I love y'all's chocolate, so. Y'all can send me chocolate too. Yeah, I'm on a diet, but you can send it anyway. I'll eat it sooner or later. We got to go again. Thanks everyone for hanging out again. Elaine, thanks for coming and hanging out with us tonight. Guys and girls, be sure to check her out, see what's going on. Pay attention. I can't wait for them. We're going to be all on pins and needles waiting for this new one to come out. I know, Bruce. This sounds like it's going to be interesting. I know you don't even start yet. You've been this excited since Expanse. Oh my God. Good night, everyone, and go hang out with the Outer Realm girls over with Michelle DeRoche and Emilia Passano. So yes, Michelle is the TV girl, and Emilia is the girl that finds missing kids for the cops. I know, but that's not what they're talking about. On that note, good night, and go visit them. Yeah, people. Good night. Let's give